The Sun has moved into Libra, it's officially Libra season, and Mars has also moved into Scorpio. So we're going to discuss the current energies and we're going to run through the zodiac signs and what this means for you and your personal sign. If you're new here, hi, I'm Georgie. I'm a Western astrologer using the tropical zodiac. Thank you for being here. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you are all well. Now, before we get into it, I do personal readings, guys. If you would like your own personal chart read, you can see the information that is linked on my page, or you can visit my website, georgieogdenastrology.com. If you get value from this video, please give the video a thumbs up, as that helps the video grow and be sent across the abyss of YouTube to whoever needs this information. So I really appreciate that little effort from whoever is watching this. So we're on Tuesday when I'm recording this. We are 2 days post eclipse. How is everyone feeling? What has been coming up for people? We are still under the eclipse energy, so although the eclipse is over, we will still see the effects of this for a few weeks, sometimes even up to a month after. We can actually kind of see very relevant things happen after an eclipse. So you'll definitely still be feeling the energy of this, most strongly for the upcoming week, depending when you're listening to this. So if you are feeling tired, if you are feeling lethargic, if you're not feeling very well, I know there's a lot of illness going around at the moment. Virgo, of course, is the sign of health. So I know there's a lot of Virgos in my life that have actually been struggling with their health. Things can kind of come up, come up within the body around a Virgo eclipse. So you'll have to let me know how you guys are feeling. So today we're just going to kind of do a bit of an energy update. I don't want to call it a horoscope because we're not looking into everything, but I thought we'd just come on and talk about Libra season, what that means collectively for us, what that means for your sign, and then we're going to look at Mars in Scorpio because this is also quite a big energy shift. So we'll start off by talking about the Sun in Libra. So it's officially Libra season. Libra season is when the Sun is moving through the zodiac of the tropical zodiac of Libra. Okay, so the Sun in astrology is our life force energy. It's what we're putting our focus on. And so collectively, whatever season it is, we can collectively feel an energy of that particular sign. So as a general rule, obviously we've just had Virgo season. So Virgo season was much about decluttering. So you may have found yourself rearranging things around your house, clearing up your workspace, clearing out your wardrobes and your cupboards, having to clear out of the Hoover or your chest of drawers, those kind of things. Really kind of decluttering is what Virgo season was about. I actually really like Virgo energy. I find it really, really helpful. So you'll have to let me know how you guys dealt with that. A lot of people, all the kids are going back to school. A lot of people are kind of getting back on track after the holidays. And that is kind of the general vibe of Virgo season. Now, as we move into Libra season, we've got to think about what Libra represents. So Libra is an air sign, okay? So we're going from Earth, practicalities, to air, which is about communication and connection. So Libra is actually a much more sociable energy than what Virgo is. Virgo is quite introverted, so it was more about kind of coming away from your summer fun, getting things organized, wanting to kind of retreat a little bit and sort things out within the home and clean and that kind of stuff, focus on maybe your health. Libra is when we are now feeling a bit more sorted and organized, and we're focusing on building connections. So Libra is the sign of connection, and it's more about one-on-one connections. So during Libra season, you may actually find yourself spending more time with people one-on-one. So it could be that you are meeting up with a friend one-on-one, individual friendships. You're meeting up with a parent. You're spending more time with a child. You and your partner are having more time together, or something could be more relevant for you and partnerships. There's just going to be more of a general theme of collaboration. So you may find yourselves, depending what you do for work, wanting to collaborate with others, wanting the opinion of other people, just having that kind of inclination towards, okay, what do you think of this? And working as a team with another party. Contracts can be relevant, agreements, signing things can be relevant. Libra is, like I said, an air sign, so it's connection, it's communication, it is thinking. It's an air sign. So I mean, we've gone from a Mercury ruled sign, even though Virgo is earth, it's Mercury ruled, so we're going into another kind of air element here, where Libra is actually an air sign. So there is this element of thoughts and thinking being relevant, ideas. The sharing of ideas can be relevant with Libra, and often it's sharing of ideas with another party. Libra is obviously ruled by Venus. So this is a really nice energy in the sense of, obviously Venus is a benefic planet. Venus is the planet of beauty and love and harmony. She also rules money. So during Libra season, we can feel a little bit more inclined towards spending money on luxuries. So it can be that you are wanting to update your autumn wardrobe. That's probably going to be the case for a lot of probably females more than males, but you know, males might be inclined towards that as well. Wanting to update your wardrobe, wanting to focus on your style, making yourself look beautiful. There can be focus on luxuries, on, you know, even things like skincare and just beauty in general, because Venus does rule these things. That might be relevant for everyone. The Venusian theme that can come through for others can be an interest in art and culture and history. Kind of taking on information around those kind of things might be relevant. It could be that you find yourself, you know, you're going into a city and you're exploring the culture of that city, probably with another person, either a romantic partner or a friend, just finding yourself immersed in other cultures and immersed in beauty, serenity. Those kind of things are going to be more relevant during Libra season. Venus, of course, rules kind of collaboration in a way as well, because she is our relationships, which I've already mentioned. But she does it in a way that is harmonious. Okay, so it's a much harmonious sign is Libra, and there's an element of diplomacy, and there's an element of wanting to keep the peace. So Libra season is about our relationships, but it's also about keeping the peace, approaching situations in a diplomatic way. So actually this can be helpful if there's been a lot of drama from the eclipses for some people, an element of diplomacy around sorting out situations. If you found yourself in difficult situations, I mean, we have just had eclipses, so it can be that things and people have been removed from your life. But if something's been going on and there's kind of been some sort of drama or something that you need to take care of, then Libra season is going to help you approach that in a more diplomatic way. Downside of this energy is that it's people pleasing, and you're just agreeing because you don't want to upset the apple cart, so to speak. So there's a case of and I always think of that Ross from Friends meme video where he's like, I'm fine. I don't know why it's coming out all loud and squeaky, because really, I'm fine. I think of that when I think of Libra, because he clearly was not fine, and he's saying he's fine. So there's that kind of energy of, yeah, sure, no worries, agreeing with things that we don't quite necessarily want to agree with. So that's just something to kind of be aware of with the Libra energy. Now Mars is actually going to contradict that in a sense, because Scorpio is much more direct. So that is going to help us, having Mars and Scorpio, but we'll come on to that in a minute. We're just kind of focusing on the Sun and Libra. So yeah, themes around beauty, self-care, taking yourself off. Ladies, like I said, you might want to go and, get a facial, all of that kind of beautifying stuff. Spending time with people, just enjoying social connections after kind of getting our head down a bit during Virgo season, and work for some people. Libra is about getting out there and having a bit more fun. Now, of course, this does depend on your rising sign when I say that, because, for example, it depends which house Libra falls on. If Libra falls on one of your water houses, you're going to be feeling a bit more introverted. So although Libra is a sociable sign, it's not going to feel necessarily, like you want to go partying with a whole huge group of people for everyone. It's very individual. So that is the Sun in Libra. Do I want to mention anything else about that? That's kind of the general vibe. And obviously when I go into the signs, I'm going to talk about where your focus will be for your individual sign. Now, Mars in, and also just on the note, so with obviously the Sun has already been opposing Saturn and Neptune. We're going to be moving away from that now. Well, the Sun's still actually opposite Neptune at 0 degrees, isn't it? So Sun opposite Neptune is there's kind of like tired energy again. It's like tiredness, like slight lack of motivation, I would say, for some people. Feeling a bit like you're in a dream world, Sun opposite Neptune, or you're wanting to escape from your responsibilities. Could be the case around this time, but the Sun will slowly move away day by day away from Neptune. And when it gets to 21 degrees, so a couple of weeks from now, it will square Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. And that's really the only tricky aspect it makes. Jupiter is about our beliefs, about our growth, about our wisdom and our morals, and our luck. So Sun squaring Jupiter can maybe feel like we are challenged in a way when it comes to what we believe in, or challenged in a way when it comes to expanding. There could be some sort of challenge when it comes to wanting to express ourselves, or maybe kind of what we're working towards, our goals. The Sun is our goals. There being some sort of challenge, and we're us having to adjust something when it comes to our growth and our optimism around something in a couple of weeks' time when the Sun squares Jupiter. But again, that's going to be a bit of a quick transit, so you might not feel it kind of hugely. Now, Mars in Scorpio. So this is a 6-week transit. Oh, it's 11:11. I just saw 11:11 on the clock. And this might feel a little bit more relevant because Mars moves slower. So Mars moves slower than the Sun. It doesn't go through every sign every year. It takes about 2 years to get back to the next sign, roughly. So that makes this transit a little bit more relevant. Now, Mars in Scorpio. So obviously we've had Mars in Libra, the sign of its detriment. Mars is now moving into its home sign. So it's in the sign that it's comfortable in. It's in the sign where it can perform really well. Mars, of course, rules both Aries and Scorpio. Excuse me. The difference between Mars and Aries and Mars and Scorpio. Excuse me, sorry. So Aries is obviously fire. It's a cardinal fire sign, and Scorpio is a fixed water sign. So they are very different energies. But the similarity between them is that Mars can go after what it wants. Now, Mars in Scorpio is more patient. So Mars is not a patient planet, okay? It is impatient, but it's more patient in Scorpio than what it is in Aries. In Aries, it's very bold, impatient, brash, let's just do this and think later kind of energy. Mars in Scorpio, when you think about fixed water, I always think about a very dark and still lake. Mars in Scorpio is like the panther that sits in the trees silently and quietly and waits and waits and waits for its prey. And when it feels like its prey is in the absolute perfect position, and then it pounces. Okay, that's what I think of when I think of Mars and Scorpio. This slower, more calculated energy around going after what it wants. It's more controlled. Scorpio is a sign of control and power. Mars in Scorpio likes to have power, likes to have control, likes to be in control. But it's because it's in its home sign, we can feel better than Mars and Libra, okay? We can feel a bit more energized. We can feel like we're ready to go after something that we want. Scorpio is, of course, a water sign. So there is an element of emotion, but it's controlled emotion. It's having your emotions under control. Now, Scorpio is, of course, it's the scorpion, and the scorpion has a sting in its tail. So Mars in Scorpio can have us feeling a little bit like a bit feisty. You can get your sting out with Mars and Scorpio, okay? So because Mars is how we approach conflict and combat, just watch out for, in layman's terms, and to make it sound a bit easy, just watch out for being a bit nasty. That's kind of the easiest way to explain it. Just being a bit unkind and cruel can come from Mars and Scorpio. Saying things that don't need to be said. Saying unkind things would be the lower energy of this vibe. Higher energy of this vibe, Scorpio can actually be very, very, very understanding. And so because Mars is our energy and what we're putting our energy into, there's an element of being aware and understanding others. But using that in a helpful and healing way rather than to our advantage of making somebody not feel validated or not feel very good because we know how they're feeling. And so a lower energy of this can be that you're using that against them to manipulate them or control them. That can be the downside of Scorpio energy. You know what they're feeling and you're using that against them. That's just something to watch out for. Like spite can be a bit spiteful. I'm dropping my crystals down my trousers. Not down my trousers, in between my legs. So very calculated, very controlled, good for going after what you want collectively. Very kind of steamy. I'll use the word steamy energy. So this is kind of good for relationships in the sense of you can feel a bit kind of steamy, flirty, that kind of vibe with Mars in Scorpio, because Mars, of course, is our sexual energy. Now, of course, this is going to show up differently for everyone, depending on where this is moving through your chart. Now, currently, and this is going to perfect, I think it is tomorrow. I'm not going to move it on, but I'm pretty sure the exact square happens tomorrow, which is Wednesday the 24th, because I'm recording this on Tuesday. Depends when you watch this. Mars is currently squaring Pluto, and it's going to go exact tomorrow. So this is fixed energy, fixed signs. Scorpio and Aquarius are fixed. Now, both of these planets have similar energy. Of course, they both rule Scorpio. So Mars wants to be in control. Mars wants to do what it wants. Mars wants to act. Mars is fierce. Mars is brave. Mars does not get scared. It's courageous. Pluto is this times 100. It represents our extreme power. Extreme power. It's the higher octave of Mars. So it's extreme power, extreme control, extreme ability to go after what it wants. So when these are squaring off together, this can kind of manifest as some sort of power struggle. So collectively, there might be things in the news come up. This can be danger. This can be violence. I don't like saying that, but you might see kind of more violent stories, things coming out in the newspapers. With Mars squaring Pluto, it's violence, it's crime, it can be a bit evil. On a personal level, this is probably going to be like a power struggle, like you coming up against somebody. They want to get their own way. Be careful with, again, this kind of depends on the signs, and I'll run through this, but this can be kind of a time where you have an accident or an injury, something like that. That can happen with Mars squaring Pluto, because of course Pluto is the planet of transformation, death, regeneration. Mars is a malefic planet. So when these two square off, we can see things happen. Again, this is only going to depend on your personal chart. For a lot of us, it might just be something that you barely even kind of notice is occurring. It always just depends on your own personal chart. Is it making any aspects to anything in your own personal chart? So generally speaking, that's going to be the most difficult aspect, Mars squaring Pluto. Then when Mars comes out of the square to Pluto, as it kind of towards the end of the transit, it's actually then going to trine Saturn and Neptune. So this is going to be a much more kind of pleasant and harmonious energy. So really the main challenge is the Mars square Pluto, and then we're going to, towards the end of the transit, Mars is going to trine Saturn and trine Neptune. So that's going to be helpful when it comes to whatever we're going after. Mars trining Saturn is about putting your goals and your aspirations into focus, being able to go after things, you being able to work towards your goals in a healthy way, what is the word I'm trying to think of? It's a hard working kind of energy. It's like this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to get there kind of energy. And then Mars trining Neptune is giving us more compassion and more empathy around what it is that we're doing and around how we are dealing with conflict and how we are going about situations. So whatever it is that we're putting our energy into, with the trine to Neptune, we are more empathetic and we're thinking of others' needs in a more pleasant and kind of kind way. So that's the kind of vibe of Mars in Scorpio. Do I want to say anything about that? Of course, Scorpio, let's just think about, so Scorpio is about obviously the deeper, darker topics of life. So because Mars is what we're putting our energy into, there just might be a collective increase in an interest in the darker topics. So you may find yourself watching more scary movies, watching, you know, being more interested. Of course, we're coming up to Halloween now. So with Mars in Scorpio, you may have more of an interest in like Halloweeny stuff than usual with Mars in Scorpio. You just may find yourself getting involved in Halloween more this year than what you would do other years. You may find yourself watching scary movies. You may find yourself interested in occult and tarot and darker topics. All of that kind of deeper, darker, occult, metaphysical stuff. You may find yourself having more of an interest in that. You may find yourself having more of an interest in psychology and wanting to explore things on a deeper level. Although it's Libra season, there's a lot of relationship building. It's lighthearted. It's a bit of a shallow energy. With Mars and Scorpio, there's this, okay, let's get to the bottom of this. Let's really kind of dive deep here and get to the bottom of this. And there's a depth involved collectively for all of us with Mars moving through Scorpio. So I'm going to run through the signs now. We're going to start with Aries and move around to Pisces. Of course, listen for your rising sign. This will be the most literal, but definitely listen for your sun sign, as that will be relevant as well. And you can listen for your moon because it may be relevant from your moon themes to do with the home and family and emotional kind of internal stuff. So listen to all three. And if you don't make it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and remember that you can book a reading if you feel called to do so. Aries and Aries rising. So Aries, Libra season is lighting up your 7th house of relationships. This is putting your focus and interest into other people. So for you, everything I mentioned in the intro will be even more relevant. So there's an element of collaboration. So you may find yourself focused on your relationships in some way. It can just be that you're spending more time with a partner, you're spending more time with, you know, a friend, a best friend. Maybe you're, you know, meeting up, going on dates, going out and doing things, and you're just finding yourself connecting with people one-on-one more so than usual. This can be really relevant for like work relationships, because Venus that rules this, she's the dispositor of the sun, is in your 6th house currently. So there can be an element of building on work relationships, having to deal with people, dealing with clients, focus on clients, maybe being busier with clients, especially if you work in some sort of healing or an environment where you're helping other people. There can just be more emphasis on you working with other people. Signing contracts can be possible in agreements. Maybe you are signing a new work contract. Maybe you are focusing on any kind of partnerships that you have work-wise. So whether it is that you have a business partner, whether it is that you want to start a business start kind of working, collaborating with somebody else, there can be some relevance in that over this month. What else do I want to say about that? Yeah, the 7th house really is kind of basic in that sense, where you're just focusing on other people. It can also be that things are going on in other people's lives and you're just observing. You're observing what's going on in other people's lives, and things can be more relevant in close relationships within your life in some way. Now, Mars has just moved into your 8th house. So this is putting your attention and your energy, your kind of motivation around darker topics. This is the house of intimacy. This is the house of shared resources. So there can be, because Mars kind of burns through, so there can be an element of trying to sort out joint finances, so paying off debts, coming into debts. Obviously Mars is a malefic planet, so where Mars moves through, we can find that we're frustrated. So you could be frustrated about joint income, frustrated about money, frustrated about the money that you owe, especially with the square to Pluto. There can be an element of you know, somebody coming after you for money, or you having to pay something off, and there's like a bit of a power struggle going on there. Focus more on kind of sexual topics, like if you have a partner, feeling more intimate, feeling more introverted, because Mars is like where we're putting our energy, where we're putting our focus. It can be that you are maybe focusing on your own behavior. You know, why do I behave like this? Diving into psychology. You might be one of the signs that's having like an occult, like a tarot reading, or going to a medium night or a psychic night, something like that, having an interest in those darker topics. Very few, some of you, the minority, might be kind of topics of death might be relevant, you know, funerals, things like that could be relevant for some of you. That will be a small minority. But yeah, just wanting to dig deeper, wanting to dig deeper. Secrets may be revealed because this is the house where things are hidden. So there can be this churning up of hidden matters in some way with Mars moving through the 8th house, because that's where your focus is right now. So you'll have to let me know, Aries, how do you think, are you excited for Libra season? Of course, it's your opposite sign. So it helps and it gives you a chance to focus on your opposite energy. This is your shadow side. This is a side that you need to work on. This is about being diplomatic. This is about getting the opinion of other people and not just jumping in, which is what you do. So it actually can be helpful to have the sun in your opposite sign because it's highlighting for you your shadow side and perhaps what you need to work on. So you might see themes of that being relevant. So let me know, Aries, your thoughts on this energy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Taurus. So Libra season is highlighting your house of health, work, routines, and pets. So when the sun moves through here, you can feel kind of like you're putting your energy and your focus into your routines. So this is about being of service to other people as well. So this can be about your daily work. Like, what do you do for your daily work? And how are you serving other people? You may find yourself kind of offering help to others more than you usually would. You're focusing on work. You're focusing on your routines. You are maybe actually feeling with this opposite Neptune energy that maybe you're overworked. You might be feeling a bit tired and like you've got a lot on your plate at the moment. There can be an interest in health. So there can be an interest in health. There can be an interest in what you're putting into your body. You know, what supplements am I taking? Am I going to the gym? Am I getting 8 hours sleep? You know, all of this self-care can be relevant, especially it's because it's in Libra. So for you guys, there is an element of, okay, how can I make myself feel and look better? And you're focusing on your body and you're focusing on what you're putting into your body. Pets can be relevant. So situations with pets, you're focusing your energy on your pets. Your work goals, like what do you want to achieve? There can be focus on what you're achieving. And what your schedules look like. So you can just be thinking, right, okay, this is my plan, this is what I need to do, and you're just having a bit more focus around being organized and deliberate with where you're putting your energy, which can be helpful. Again, it's kind of like that Virgo energy of decluttering, focusing on your workspace and kind of getting a plan together around what you're putting your life force energy into. Things to do with doctors can show up here. 6th house can often be like appointments and doctors. So it could be for some of you relevant, especially with Mercury here, like appointments and doctors and correspondence with healthcare professionals can be relevant when the sun moves through our 6th house. Again, some of you might actually be becoming poorly with the sun opposite Neptune. That could be possible. If it's not tiredness, then it can just be that your body is actually feeling like it needs a bit of a rest. Now, with Mars moving in to your 7th house, this is about your one-on-one relationships. So Mars can be frustrations. So there can be some frustrations with your relationships. Maybe your partner's getting frustrated with you. Maybe you're getting frustrated with them. And maybe you're having a power struggle over something, especially at the beginning of this transit with Mars squaring Pluto. So an argument, somebody trying to assert their power over you. This might be a romantic partner, or it can just be any kind of significant relationship. So like somebody that you work with, a business partner, somebody at work, because it's squaring Pluto in your 10th house. So there can be kind of some power struggles with people at work, maybe people getting cross at you, or you having to kind of just assert your energy. Mars rules your 12th house. So there can be kind of secrets coming out or kind of unconscious patterns that are affecting your relationship in some way. Maybe you're focusing on releasing unconscious patterns that are no good for you, releasing self-sabotaging behaviors when it comes to a partner, or you could be diving into past life regression and working with a partner on past life stuff. That could be really, really relevant, especially because it's Scorpio, and Scorpio of course is about anything we can't see. It's energy work, and so that would be a really cool use of that energy if you were diving into past life work with a partner, or just discussing it, even talking about it. Spiritual matters connected to one-on-one people, so having kind of conversations and topics about spiritual collaborations, or working with somebody spiritually, working with a therapist, working with an energy healer, what could be really, really relevant as well. And that could be how you use this energy. Getting steamy with a partner is also possible. Obviously it's Scorpio, so just kind of feeling a bit more sexy, feeling a bit more steamy when it comes to your one-on-one relationships is possible for you as well. It's just that beginning of that transit with that square to Pluto, just watch out for that. But then after that, aside from some frustrations, you can just be that you're spending more time with a partner and you're focusing on deeper topics in some way, and those intimate topics. So let me know, Taurus, your thoughts about these energies, and I'll see you in the next video. Gemini, so Libra season is lighting up your 5th house. This is fun energy for you. This is a sign that, of course, is a fellow air sign, so it trines you. It's a friendly energy. Libra is, of course, about diplomacy and collaboration and connection, looking after yourself, and this is your house of fun. This is the house where you get to focus on yourself, Gemini. So you could find yourself just focusing on your own joy. What do you do for fun? So you could be one of the signs that is, you're going shopping for yourself, you're focusing on self-care, you're doing some sort of hobby where you are focusing on what do you find fun. So whether it's shopping, whether it's buying jewelry, whether it's painting or doing something creative. This is the house of creativity, and Libra is ruled by Venus, which is a planet of creativity. So this could be a very creative transit for some of you, where you're, like I said, you're just doing fun things, going out and focusing on what lights you up, what brings you joy. This is also the house of business. So if you do run your own business, then this could be kind of very relevant for you, like focusing on what it is that you're creating. The sun rules your 3rd house of connection and communication, and social media. So it could be that you're focused on being more present on social media, putting yourself out there a bit more, maybe coming up with new things for your business, that kind of stuff. Now the sun opposite Neptune, maybe some confusion around friendships, maybe some confusion around what it is that you are enjoying. It can, while the sun is opposite Neptune, it can be, okay, what do I actually do for fun? What do I actually do for joy? And there can just be some confusion, and then you don't actually end up doing anything, but you just end up staying at home. That could be possible with the sun opposite Neptune. But as it moves away, and it's actually also trining Uranus in your sign. So there could be this energy of, I'm feeling really free. I'm feeling like I just want to really enjoy myself. You could be going on a date. 5th house is dating and romance. So you could be going out on a date. You could be romanticizing yourself, having dates with your partner. This is just a very fun and flirty energy. This is also the house of children. So focus on children in some way. Conversations about children, shopping for children, focusing your attention on children, or focusing your attention on your inner child could be relevant for some of you. Then with Mars in the sign of Scorpio in your 6th house, so this is again, Mars is our motivation, what we're feeling motivated around. It can also bring some conflict. So motivation and change and kind of sorting things out when it comes to your work. This can be the ending of work. Mars can sever things. Can be the quitting of a job. Especially now Saturn's moved back into your 10th house. You can be quitting a job. You can be feeling frustrated around work and people that you work with. But at the same time, it can be that you're feeling motivated to get things sorted, motivated to sort out your routines, motivated around finding a schedule that works best for you. That could be possible. This is a house of health, so there can be some kind of minor ailments that come up with Mars in the 6th house where you're feeling like things are inflamed. Mars inflames things. So this is like rashes and inflamed skin can often come from Mars in the 6th house. So just watch out for that. Make sure that if you are having any kind of aches and pains or things that you don't feel quite right, make sure that you're going and getting those checked out. You could also be just focusing on kind of holistic health. Of course, Scorpio is about energy healing, so things like Reiki, reflexology, sound healing, any kind of form of healing that isn't going to the doctors, spiritual healing, you may find more of an interest in because it's in the sign of Scorpio. Things like I want to say like sound bathing and I've already mentioned Reiki, but yeah, those kind of things, meditation, all that kind of stuff can be more relevant, or you may have more of an interest in it. Now, when Mars squares Pluto at the beginning, like kind of now and tomorrow, the next couple of days, there may be some power struggles, and it can have something to do with your health. So again, something might become inflamed with your health. You may be having a power struggle with somebody that you work with. A pet could be really, really annoying you, something like that. There can be a challenge with a pet or a co-worker or somebody that you are trying to help. That can be relevant. So you'll have to let me know, Gemini, what are your thoughts about these energies? Can you feel anything coming up at the moment? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cancer, so you have got the sun moving into your 4th house. This is an introverted house. It's the house of the home, the family, your ancestry, the past, your inner emotional world. So when the sun moves into your 4th house, you can be kind of just feeling a bit nostalgic, feeling a bit more emotional, feeling a bit more like you want to nurture. You want to nurture yourself. You want to kind of hide away and shut yourself and get cozy and warm and close the curtains and watch you know, trash TV maybe. You know, it's Libra, so Libra is actually about like gossip, so watching kind of like trashy TV, gossipy programs. You may find yourself having more of an interest in that with the sun moving through Libra in your 4th house. So for you, it's less sociable, but it's sociable in the sense of you might want to watch just kind of those kind of gossipy I don't want to say trashy TV, because that's kind of not always what I mean, but you know, programs where it's just light-hearted. It's light-hearted reality TV kind of stuff you may find with the sun moving through Libra, that you just have an interest in kind of hiding away and focusing on that. Family relationships, spending more time with family members, and something happening in the family could be more relevant with the sun moving through the 4th. So whether it be that you're spending more time with your mum, it could be that you are what you value about, thinking about what it is that you value about your home is possible as well. Putting some attention into the home, so it can be that you're thinking, you know, it's Libra, it's creative, so do I want to decorate my home? Do I want to spend money on my home? Do I want to, because the sun rules your 2nd house of money, do I want to make adjustments around my home? Do I want to move home? These things can all be relevant with the sun in the 4th. Just focus on home and family matters. What do I want? And now with the sun opposite Neptune, kind of confused. Something happening with like a family member that is confusing, or you don't really understand their point of view, can be possible, especially with a parent, like you don't really understand where they're coming from, or maybe you are just, again, it's like you're wanting to spend more time at home, you're feeling a bit emotional with the sun opposite Neptune and the sun in your 4th house. Obviously Mercury is here too, so definitely like topics around conversations and ideas, and maybe kind of working from home more than usual could be relevant for some of you. Now, Mars has entered your 5th house, and this is in the sign of Scorpio. Now, this is a fun energy for you, Cancer, because the 5th house is obviously trining you. It's a water sign, it's trining you. Mars moving into Scorpio is quite kind of sexy. It's like a sexy house. It's flirtatious. It's fun. This is dating. This is getting kind of steamy with a partner. This is really good for creativity, things to do with your business, putting your attention into business stuff, your attention and your focus into what it is that you're creating, and your business matters. Mars obviously rules your 10th house of career, and it also rules the 5th house. So things to do with your career, it's like, what am I creating? What am I putting out into the world? How am I expressing myself? And you can just want to focus more on expressing yourself from the heart, being in the limelight a bit more maybe. Although having said that, obviously the sun in the 4th, there's this emotional pull to stay at home, but the Mars in the 5th is like, but I want to get creative and I want to do things that I enjoy. There can be some conflict with a partner, because Mars is of course a malefic planet, so there can be conflict around romantic relationships come up, probably while Mars is squaring Pluto, I would say. So kind of the beginning of this transit, some power struggles between you and a partner. They might be annoyed at you for doing something, you might be annoyed at them for doing something, that kind of thing. But as Mars comes out of the square with Pluto, generally this is a fun transit, and it's like, where are you having fun? Where are you taking risks? Where are you, you know, what do you do for fun? What are your hobbies? And are your hobbies anything to do with kind of the darker side of life? This is divination, this is tarot, this is psychic events, and actually you may find yourself having more of an interest in doing these things as a hobby, as an activity for fun, with Mars in the 5th house. Of course, the 5th house is also children. So if you already have children, this can be your children acting up a bit, they're feeling a bit grumpy, a bit of conflict there, a bit of bad behavior, possibly power struggles. If you don't have children, then this can actually be good for pregnancy, because Mars is the ruler of your 5th house. It's in its own sign. So trying to get pregnant, wanting to get pregnant, topics of pregnancy can be relevant when the ruler of the 5th house is in the 5th house. It's at home, so it's helpful if you're trying to conceive. And of course, towards the end of this transit is also going to trine Saturn. So this is about parenthood and responsibility. So that could be relevant for some of you. Topics around parenthood, topics around your own business, if you have one, could be relevant. This is also your inner child. So actively working on your inner child could be relevant for some of you during this transit. So let me know, Cancer. Of course, also, before I finish that, Mars is also going to trine Jupiter in your first house. So again, good for pregnancy. And not opportunities coming your way when it comes to your business can also be really good. So let me know, Cancer, your thoughts around this energy. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Leo and Leo rising. So you guys have got the sun moving through your third house. This is a very sociable part of your chart. It's a sign and the house that sextiles you. It's a friendly energy. The sun rules you. So this is really relevant. Wherever the sun moves, it's very relevant for you guys. So sun in the third house. Third house is a busy house. It's where we're connecting and communicating and traveling around, and it's short trips. It is our siblings, our relatives. It's the house of cars and transportation and our neighborhood, our neighbors. So you're putting your energy here. Where the sun is, you're putting your focus. So you can find yourself, maybe you've got your neighbours, maybe you're communicating with your neighbours for some reason, feeling more friendly towards your neighbours. The third house is kind of how we go about our day-to-day and the people we talk to. It's the postman, it's the person in the shop, it's the person in the gym, it's our social connections. So when you've got the sun here, there's more relevance on these social connections. You may feel more sociable, you may feel like talking to people, you may just feel that energy of, right, I'm going to have this conversation, and it can just feel more relevant. You may be traveling to visit a sibling. There can be some relevance around siblings in some way. Maybe they've got something going on in their life and that makes them more relevant. Going on short trips, definitely Mercury's here too. So yeah, trips around, traveling around, that can all be relevant. Travel, so transportation, your car, themes to do with that can be relevant. So some people might want a new car, some people are having to focus on putting a tire. There's just more kind of busyness where the sun is. Your goals, so the third house is, the sun is our goals, and the third house is like social media, and it's like your emails, your social media platforms, how you are connecting. So maybe you're refining your connections, you're refining, okay, this is me talking to this person. Maybe you're trying to meet up with friends. Maybe you're trying to organize something. That can be more relevant with the sun in the third. Focusing on social media and putting yourself out there a bit more can be possible. Just general connecting and connection being a focus throughout this transit, especially because it's Libra, and of course this is an air sign. What else do I want to say about that? I think that's kind of the main gist of what I want to say about that. It's a very busy house. A lot of time in the third house, appointments can show up because obviously it's information. So I often find, even though doctors show up in the sixth house because it's health, I often find like appointments for things will be in the third house. So you may find that you're having kind of maybe like cosmetic appointments or doctor's appointments, and you're going to correspond with somebody in the local community. Maybe you're actually getting involved in like the school PTA, or you're mingling with a social group of some kind during this transit. Now Mars has moved into your fourth house, which is a little bit more tricky, I would say, because obviously this is a sign that squares you. Mars in the fourth could be frustrations within the home. So it can be that like the person that you live with is annoying you, the dog's barking next door, your dog's barking a lot, your dog's annoying you, your partner's annoying you, your housemate's annoying you. There's just frustrations within the home. It can be that things break, and then that's why that's frustrating. Especially to start with Mars squaring Pluto, there's going to be some sort of conflict. So it can be like a bit of a butting of heads with you and somebody that you live with. It can be a child, a spouse, anyone that you live with, family member, a bit of a butting of heads, and like not seeing eye to eye. Mars in the fourth house, again, it can be that you're wanting to fix stuff around the home. Mars is like the fixer-upper, so this can be a transit where you are putting up pictures. I think of like knocking and nails and kind of like cutting up wood and rearranging things within the home. That's a good way to use this energy, actually. Rearranging things within the home, like of decorating, putting your energy into the home environment, but in a healthy way rather than a combative way. careful of being spiteful when it comes to kind of dealing with other people. Mars in the 4th house, your emotions can stir up a bit. You might feel that you're becoming emotionally aggravated, and it's coming from something within, something that you've repressed. So any emotions that you've repressed from the past may come up under this transit. Do I want to say anything else about that? Of course, towards the end of that transit, Mars is going to trine. Well, it's going to trine Jupiter in your 12th house, and then it's going to trine Saturn in your 8th house. So it's tricky at the beginning, but then towards the end, there can be some breakthroughs when it comes to maybe property issues, financial issues, issues with a partner, working through something with another person towards the end of that transit, a family member, a joint finance issue, all of that kind of stuff. So Leo, you'll have to let me know how this energy is showing up for you so far. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, Virgo, the sun has entered Libra, which is your 2nd house. So this is putting attention and energy into your finances. So it is in the sign of Libra, so you are one of the signs where you might actually just be spending more money on yourself, which isn't necessarily always a bad thing. Sometimes we're allowed to, and we deserve to spend money on ourselves. Focus on finances. You may be wanting to organize your finances. You may just be wanting to balance your finances. It's Libra, so you're wanting things to be fair. So maybe if you've been spending too much money on a partner, you're now wanting them to spend money on you, and you're wanting things to be balanced and fair. Excuse me. The sun rules your 12th house, so this can be things that you've been keeping to yourself about your money can come up. Things things that you've not wanted to say about money can come up. These can be subconscious money patterns can be more relevant at this time, or maybe you're working on your subconscious money beliefs, like your limiting beliefs around money. You could be working on them during this time. What am I worthy of? The 2nd house is what we're worthy of, so the focus on your self-worth, what you're worthy of, especially because obviously straight away the sun entering your 2nd is trining Uranus in your 10th, so this can be about your career, wanting to look for a new career and thinking, right, I want to improve my income, I want to increase my income because I deserve more, and there can be some sort of breakthrough in that. You're focusing your attention here on that. You can also be focusing on your values and what's important to you, and just thinking about, okay, what do I value, what's important to me, and you just may find yourself thinking about that more than what you usually would with the sun moving through the 2nd house. An emphasis on your material possessions. What do I own, what do I have, what's mine, feeling a bit rebellious around your possessions. Maybe you're wanting to have a big clear out. Maybe you're wanting, you are a Virgo rising after all. Maybe there's just like a sudden breakthrough with your finances. Money suddenly comes to you, or money suddenly goes out. But because it's a trine, it's more likely that there's going to be a breakthrough when it comes to money, which is possible. Now, Mars has entered your 3rd house. So this is kind of where we're putting a lot of our energy. The 3rd house is social connections. So you may find yourself interested in local groups. You may find yourself putting your energy into local groups. Maybe you're into sports and you're meeting up with sports groups. Maybe you are into divination and you're meeting up with a local group to go through some sort of kind of energy or divination work, and you're doing it in a group setting. Be careful how you use your words during this transit, because Mars in the 3rd house, we can speak a bit sharply. Now, you will have Mercury is in Libra, so actually Mercury is helping you because it's the sign of diplomacy. Sun in Libra as well, it's the sign of diplomacy, not wanting to kind of upset anyone. But Mars in the 3rd house, this is your speech, so you can just find yourself saying something before thinking. Maybe some conflict with siblings, or something going on in a sibling's life where they are experiencing conflict themselves. There can be some challenges with neighbours. Maybe they're being really loud. Maybe you're, having to go around and say, look, can you keep the noise down? That can be possible for some of you. Things with cars, frustrations with cars can come up. So just be careful when you're driving, because this is an energy of, more road rage, especially at the beginning with Mars squaring Pluto. Some frustrations about a car or a vehicle, frustrations about travel. If you're getting the train or somewhere, make sure you're checking your plans. Trains can get delayed, flights can get delayed, or some frustrations around travel can definitely come up with Mars in the 3rd house, especially while it's squaring Pluto. So make sure you're checking your travel plans. Frustrations about your car, but also fixing things to do with your car is possible, because Mars is the fixer-upper. Fixing things to do with your car. Local trips, like again, Mars is our energy and motivation. Going on local trips is definitely possible. I think that's kind of all I want to say about that. The third house actually is also our mind. It's our mindset. So you may find that your mind is a bit busier at this time. Obviously, you're a Virgo rising, so you guys do overthink anyway. You may find that your mind's a bit busier. Mars can be aggravating thoughts. Your thoughts can be aggravating. So this would be a good time for you to try and quiet your mind, try and work on meditating and saying positive affirmations so that you don't let that Scorpio energy of intensity when it comes to your thinking overtake, because that is possible where you're overthinking, you're having intense thoughts. So just kind of focus on meditation and maybe like going for a walk or having, going for a swim. This is Scorpio energy, so water should be involved. Swimming, showering, releasing any negative energy, but with the use of water that's affecting your mindset can be helpful during this transit. So let me know, Virgo, your thoughts on this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Libra and Libra rising. So Libra, it is your season. How are you feeling? So you will be feeling more energized this season as the sun moves out of your 12th house and into your first house. This is feeling more energized, feeling more like you, feeling more sociable. You still have got Venus in the 12th house, so there is an element of introvertedness. There's an element of it there, but you will be feeling much better than you were feeling. If you had been feeling a bit off, been feeling a bit kind of unsociable, been feeling like a bit more tired than usual. As the sun moves into your first house, you're going to be feeling more energized. You may find yourself focusing on yourself. So feeling like you're busier, you can just maybe feeling more busier. You can feel definitely more sociable because the sun rules your 11th house of groups. So you may be organizing things with your friends. You may be organizing group things, and you actually may feel just more motivated around group connections. Just you being in the limelight. So like I said, you being busy, maybe busy with work, getting more attention, feeling more confident. The sun is our confidence, and the sun is our ability to shine. So when it's in the first house, there's an element of you having the ability to shine and to be seen, but also to be self-focused. So focusing on your own enjoyment, your own joy, and your own vitality at the moment is going to be really relevant. First house is our body, so themes to do with our vitality could be relevant. So the sun opposite Neptune right now, and bearing in mind will be moving away over the next couple of days. If you're watching this straight away, this may feel more relevant still. This is about feeling tired. Sun in your first house opposite Neptune, you actually might be unwell. Sun opposite Neptune is like, okay, I've got a virus, or I'm unwell and I don't know why, or I'm just feeling really tired. So you may be one of those signs that's more relevant for, because the sun is our vitality and it's in your first house of your physical body. Focus on your body, focus on what do I enjoy, what do I want, what is the direction of my life, and there's just this element of, okay, what lights me up, and yeah, you're just shining from within during this transit, feeling more sociable and building those connections. Mercury is in your sign as well, so again, it's having ideas come to you, going on lots of, maybe on a trip that's really relevant, and just wanting to build those connections. Now Mars has moved into your second house. This is your money. So this is, on the one hand, this can be very good for money. You can actually feel like you're motivated around making money. You're focusing on what you value, what's important to you. You can find money coming to you. Whenever you have any planets in the houses, you can just, because there's an energy there, there's more focus there, you can see things coming in or out. Excuse me. But Mars is a malefic planet, and so there can be this burning quality of, yes, you're making more money, but you're also spending more money at the same time. It's burning up like a hole in your pocket. So that's just something to watch out for. Mars is the fixer-upper, so then can be this element of, okay, like refining. It's Scorpio, so refining, okay, what am I spending my money on? Where do I want my money to come from? Because it's the sign of control, so there may be a control element around you wanting to work out, be precise around, okay, where's my money coming from? And wanting to organize it in a way, but just being very focused around your income, around your finances, and what's going on in that area of your life. Mars rules your 7th house of relationships, so there's an element of maybe you and another person collaborating financially, you coming into some money from a partner, you having to spend money on a partner, signing a contract, a financial contract can be possible under this transit. Collaborating with somebody else, like I said, and sales. Like if you run a business and you're in sales, that could be really relevant. What else do I want to say? Also, because this is the house of our values, you questioning, not necessarily questioning, but there's a focus on what do I value about my relationships with other people, and you're thinking more deeper because it's Scorpio, it's going deep. Okay, what are my values and what do I actually value about a relationship? What's important to me, and am I receiving that? Can be possible because Mars is the ruler of your 7th house. But you know, it's in its own sign, it's happy in Scorpio, it can do what it wants, but there's just this kind of deeper kind of wanting to go a bit deeper around your finances and your values and your self-worth as well. Focus on your self-worth, some depth around, okay, what am I worthy of, and elements of your self-worth being relevant. So feeling a bit better, I would say, Libra, coming out of Virgo season. The limelight is on you and you're focusing on yourself and, like I said, your values. So you'll have to let me know how this energy is showing up for you. Of course, with the Mars squaring Pluto, there can be a bit of a power struggle financially at the beginning of this. Mars squaring Pluto, especially if you run your own business or if you have kids, there can be like a bit of a power struggle around finances or something to do with your income. Let me know what it is if that's relevant for you. Let me know your thoughts on this video and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Scorpio, so you guys, okay, Libra season is highlighting your 12th house. So for you, this is a time when you are going within, okay, because you're preparing for your own season. So Libra season can feel a bit more tiring for you. It can be a time with the sun in your 12th house where you're actually going within. The best way to utilize this energy is not force yourself to do anything you don't want to do, which you don't tend to anyway. You're not the most sociable, outgoing sign, but during Libra season, you just may find yourself wanting to spend more time at home. You might be sleeping more, especially at the beginning of this with Sun opposite Neptune, sleeping more. You might be focusing on your health, focusing on your spirituality. This is the house of meditation. So doing spiritual practices are really, really going to make you feel better. Yoga, Reiki, meditation, sound baths, any kind of energy or spiritual practice that's going to help you, that's beneficial, you know, like holistic health is going to be beneficial right now for you. Going to the spa, finding yourself in a place of retreat, completely normal for Sun in the 12th house. You might be visiting someone in hospital, or you might be visiting someone in like a prison or a place of confinement. You might find yourself going to church. 12th house is things behind closed doors. So it's the secret spaces in our life. It's it can also be the spaces of our mind. So going within your mind more. Self-sabotaging behaviors can become relevant with the Sun in the 12th house. So this will be different for everyone. Like, how do you self-sabotage? Do you scroll on your phone for too much? Do you drink? Do you abuse substances? Do you just avoid situations that you need to address? That's avoidance is also a self-sabotaging behavior. So you may find yourself needing to wanting to self-sabotage more than usual. So something to be aware of. Healthy use of this energy is, like I said, diving into spiritual practices and you know, like places of retreat is going to be how you best use this energy. Now Mars has moved into your 1st house, okay, so this is going to give you some energy. It's going to give you some vibrancy. Even though the Sun is in your 12th, Mars in the 1st is going to bring some sort of motivation to what it is that you're doing. Sometimes we can feel busy with Mars in the 1st house. Sometimes we can feel like we have a lot to do. Mars rules your 6th house of work, so it can, and your health. So actually, health is going to be relevant for you guys. Again, there can be some inflammation around the body, but it can be that you're just busy with work. You're having orders come in. You're having to do work yourself. So especially, so if you run your own business, this can be quite helpful with the rule of the 6th in your 1st house. But it can also be that you're having to do more than usual. Maybe, you know, you've got people are off sick and you're having to kind of pick up the slack. That can be possible. Try not to burn yourself out. So Mars in the 1st house can be that we're so busy we're burning ourselves out, and especially because you've got the Sun in the 12th, that's not really a very good thing to do. You need to be making sure you give yourself rest. Mars in the 1st house can also be motivation around, you know, it could be that you're just kind of trying to organize your schedules and work out what it is goal wise that you want to be doing. That's a good use of this energy. Like focused on entrepreneurship, definitely, because Mars is the entrepreneur. Mars is the entrepreneur in your 1st house, so focus on entrepreneurship. But of course the 1st house is also our health, and so this can make us a bit accident prone, I would say. So just be careful if you are, especially with Mars squaring Pluto at the beginning of this transit. Be careful, don't do anything dangerous, I would say, around this transit. Don't be swimming in cold water, I'm just thinking of cold lakes. Don't be swimming in like really cold water. Don't be using any kind of tools or equipment that you've not used before. Like, just be careful. Just be careful, because Mars in the first house, we can cut ourselves, we can injure ourselves. Squaring Pluto is more, you're taking more risk if you're a Scorpio rising, if you're doing something dangerous around the beginning of this transit. Wait for Mars to kind of move out of the square with Pluto. So that's all I have for you, Scorpio. Let me know your thoughts on that. How is this energy showing up for you? And I'll see you in the next video. Okay. Sagittarius. So you guys have the sun moving into your 11th house. This is a very sociable energy for you. It's in the sign of Libra, which is about connections, and the 11th house is our friendships. So building those connections with other people, wanting to meet up with friends, probably on a one-on-one basis, but possible for it to be in groups, because the 11th house is groups, but Libra's one-on-one. So you just may find yourself, you know, calling all of your best friends and wanting to spend more time with them. There just being a focus on friendships throughout this transit. Maybe your friends are going through something and therefore there's a focus. The sun is our life force energy, so we're putting our focus, you're putting your focus into your friendships, into your relationships with other people during this transit. 11th house is groups, so it can be that you're focused on getting groups together, spending time in large groups. That is possible. The sun rules your 9th house of travel, so it could be that you're traveling with a friend. It can be that you are sharing your beliefs. So like the 9th house is like our beliefs in our faith, so it's like spirituality and religion. So being involved in groups to do with spirituality and religion and that kind of stuff can be relevant, and there can be more of a focus on integrating into groups that help you grow. You could also be sharing your wisdom and your knowledge with a group of people. The 11th house is our goals, okay? So you're focusing during this time on your goals and your aspirations for the future. Where are you heading? What are you doing? And you're just really focusing on like manifestation and goals. That is very possible at this time. 11th house is also like activism, humanitarianism. So you might find yourself doing charity work, doing marches, protests, that kind of stuff could be relevant for some of you. Yeah. Just being involved in an if you work in an organization, there can be relevance around a group of people that you're involved with in terms of the organization. That's also possible. And Mars has moved into your 12th house now, okay? So this is your energy. So again, Mars in the 12th, you can be having some crazy dreams. Definitely having crazy dreams, lucid dreams. It's probably a good idea to try and exercise, to knacker yourself out so that you can sleep, because it can be that you're kind of a bit active and restless at night with Mars in the 12th house. And a good way to be able to sleep is to go and do some physical energies, like go for a run, go to the gym. That's going to help you sleep. So Mars rules your 5th house of romance and is going into the 12th. So secret romances can blossom. You can kind of just be having feelings for somebody behind the scenes. Spending time with somebody behind the scenes is possible. You can kind of be working on something something creative behind the scenes as well. So the 5th house, Mars rules your 5th house. This is your business. It's moving in through the 12th. So brewing something behind the scenes, working on something creatively is definitely possible. Feeling more tired with this energy, I think I said that. But when our collective energy Mars is moving through your 12th, you just may feel more inclined to spend time at home, to spend time retreating. Good energy around going to a spa, going to a retreat, finding yourself wanting to nurture your body and actually doing those all those spiritual practices that we mentioned earlier. So this is Reiki, sound baths, meditation, and doing it for fun, doing those things for fun, for your mental health, okay? Anything to do with kind of divination topics, tarot, occult things, astrology, those unusual metaphysical kind of topics. You may have an interest in them, but you're going to have an interest behind. You're not going to tell anyone about it. You might be like going to a medium, but you're not going to tell anyone. It's like a secret. So yeah, just turning a little bit more internal. Even though you've got the sun in the 11th, which is sociable, there is also going to be an element of, right, I need to go and rest now. I need to go and recharge now. So make sure that you're giving yourself that time to do so. Also focusing on past lives, I want to say. So focus on past lives and karmic stuff can be relevant for some of you as well. So let me know, Sagittarius, your thoughts on these transits, and I will see you in the next video. Capricorn. So Capricorn, you are having the sun move into your 10th house, which is a familiar energy to you because the 10th house is naturally the Capricorn house. So you will be focused on your goals, you'll be focused on work, on your career, and they can be focused on your public image and your reputation in some way. You're in the limelight for some reason. The sun is where we shine. You are shining right now, either at work, you are shining because something is happening in your life and it's public. So the sun rules, what does the sun rule? Where is Leo? Sorry, the sun rules your 8th house. So you can be going through some sort of transformation. You can be going through a crisis. You can be going through a rebirth. You can be going through, buying a house or something like that. But whatever you're going through that's a big transformation for you is in the limelight. Some people are knowing about it. People are aware of it, okay? You could be focused on your goals, on your career. There can be just relevance around your career. You're thinking, right, what am I working towards? What am I focused on? And your goals are really relevant. Family focus can be relevant. The 10th house can be connected to our parents and authority figures. So there can be relevance around authority figures. This is police, this is banks, this is kind of anyone of an institution. There can be relevance for some reason. So it can be that you're dealing with like paperwork and financial matters. So it could be that you're going into a bank and you're having to like sign an agreement or something like that, or maybe you're having a baby and you're having to go and register the birth, that kind of stuff where you're dealing with authorities and it's connected to you having a transformation. Or it can just be that you're focused on your career. You're really shining at the moment, you're focused on your reputation and you're just becoming more seen. If you're somebody that wants to be seen, you're out, obviously it depends what you do, but for example, if you work on social media, you're going to want to be seen. So actually you're building on your legacy and your reputation. You're becoming more recognized with the sun in the 10th. It's more easy for people to see you, which is great for some of you, if that's what you want. Then Mars has now moved into your 11th house. So Mars is our energy, our motivation, and it's conflict as well. So Mars in the 11th, on the one hand, there can be, you're dealing with groups of people, you're dealing with friends, you're dealing with an organisation. If you work in an organisation, there can be a frustration around this. There can be a frustration around friendships, especially with the square to Pluto in your 2nd. So at the beginning of this transit, a friend's annoying you, or there's a power struggle at work if you work in like a large group of people, or if you work on the internet, someone's writing something horrible on one of your videos, that kind of stuff can happen with Mars squaring Pluto. You can be putting your energy into, a charity run or humanitarian project or, a protest, something like that. Or, like I said, frustrations with friendships, things going on there, friendships ending, that can be possible. But it can just be that you're feeling motivated around spending more time with your friends, around making a bit more effort with friends, that's possible. Changes to your goals or refining your goals. Mars is like where we're kind of we're wanting to fix stuff. So your goals for the future could be changing, and it can be related to your home and your family. What else do I want to say about that? And it can be related to how you feel inside. So your emotions and how you feel internally are having a direct impact on your goals for the future. And there's just a relevance there for some of you. So mainly this is about you being in the limelight, you focusing on your goals, your career, but there also maybe being some frustrations around friendships and any organisations that you work in, and having to kind of restructure that. Just be careful when you are dealing with conflict, because this is Scorpio and it can get a bit catty. Scorpio in the 11th house, we can feel a bit kind of maybe our friendships go through a lot of transformations, and so there can just be kind of a catty energy with Mars in the 11th. So just something to watch out for. So thank you for watching, Capricorn. Let me know your thoughts on this video and these energies, and I'll see you in the next video. So Aquarius, the sun is highlighting your 9th house, Libra season. This is a very adventurous section of your chart. So some of you could quite literally be traveling with this energy. You're traveling, you're going on an adventure. You are going on holiday, you are just focusing on broadening your horizons. The 9th house is the house of higher education, of higher learning. So you can feel called towards wanting to learn, wanting to grow, wanting to develop your mind during this transit, a focus on growth, or just a focus on the bigger picture, seeing things from a broader perspective. And it's not kind of like, oh, I'm not going to worry about that now. Oh, I'm thinking more about this. And you're actually seeing things from a larger point of view. The sun rules your 7th house of relationships. So seeing the bigger picture about a relationship could be relevant. Traveling with a partner. It could be that you are being called to have faith around a relationship. The 9th house is our faith and our beliefs. So you could be focusing on, okay, what are my spiritual beliefs? What are my religious beliefs? And just developing more spiritually or in a religious sense, but you're focusing on your beliefs, and that it could have something to do with the people that you are spending time with, or a relationship in your life is making you think more positively. You could be meeting a teacher or meeting somebody that's teaching you something, or you could actually be broadcasting something that you've been learning. You could be wanting to share your information with other people, wanting to teach, wanting to share what you've been up to with an audience. So it could be that you're publishing something, you're putting something out there online, you're broadcasting some information to the world around something that you've learned. The 9th house is also our legal matters and ceremonies and stuff. So there can be some relevance around, maybe a partner is completing a degree or a pass out ceremony, or a partner or a best friend or somebody that you know is getting married or divorced, or you're having to deal with legal matters when it comes to a relationship, or somebody in your life is dealing with legal matters themselves, and that's relevant in your life. Amazing how these things can show up, because it can even be things like passports, paperwork, anything kind of to do with like a legal ceremony or a legal matter will show up in the 9th house. So that can be relevant for some of you. Then you've got Mars just moved into your 10th house. So Mars in the 10th house, this is frustrations at work, but also energy around your career. So on the one hand, you could be motivated towards your goals, motivated around what you're working towards. I want to go after this. I want to go after this. You could be feeling impatient around your goals and what you're working towards. Conversations with bosses, ideas, sharing ideas at work. Mars rules your 3rd house of ideas and communication. Could be that you're traveling for work, you're going on a short distance trip, you're getting a new car for work. Maybe your transportation to work is changing, or you're having to adjust something. Maybe you're getting a company car. There can be conflict with people in the workplace. So who you work with, authority figures. Again, authority figures, this is like banking, this is police, this is people that have a higher power over you. Some frustrations there. So you could be getting in trouble for, driving too fast, something like that. That can show up. But mostly this is going to be about your work and your career and your goals. So putting a lot of energy towards something, but also feeling frustrated. So, people at work annoying you, having conversations, having some conflict. And kind of just be careful around how you're approaching matters, because Mars and Scorpio can be a bit catty, a bit feisty. It's 111 again. So you guys can have that. I've seen that so many times this week. So Mars in the 10th house is frustrations at work, annoyances at work, people annoying you, but also you're wanting to get things sorted. Mars is the fixer upper. Of course, the Mars square Pluto transit at the beginning of this is going to be where you're going to be feeling the tension the most. So it can be like a boss is annoying you. Maybe somebody's told you something from, that's in your 1st house, sorry, Pluto in your 1st house. You're asserting your power. You have the power, but you've got to make sure that you're not kind of overbearing to other people, because you are going through your own transformation, Aquarius, and there can be some tension with work, place, situations and environments because of that. So let me know how this is playing out for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And Pisces, okay, Libra season is actually highlighting your 8th house. This is an introverted part of your chart, so you're one of the signs that is not necessarily going to be feeling the most sociable, the most out there. The 8th house is a deep section of our chart. It can feel a bit uncomfortable when the sun moves through the 8th house, because we are having to address our skeletons, we are having to address our skeletons in the closet, our secrets, things that we are burying, things that we are suppressing. The 8th house is where we transform. So there's a focus here on our own transformation. There's a focus here on our intimacy. The sun rules your 6th house. So this can be about health, about you going through some sort of health crisis, health transformation. This can be about collaborations when it comes to kind of financial collaborations when it comes to your work. Sun in the 8th house, there can just be focused on your own behavior. So this is because the eighth house is where we alchemize things. It's where we transform. So it's the house of coaching. It's the house of rising from the ashes. It's coming from down here and rising to up here. It's where we regenerate. So if you've been going through something hard, if you've been going through something difficult, this is where you transform. And there's a focus on, first of all, like the metaphysical side of life. So this is like energy healing, energy work often shows up in the eighth house, like spiritual energy work, working with a medium. This is like any form of energy healing, like crystal healing. You know, the 12th and the 8th house are similar, and I do see healing in both of them, and I do see energy work showing up in both of them. The 8th house, a lot of the time, is if you're working with spirit, with a medium, somebody that can actually speak to the dead. So there can be a huge kind of transformational process when you have the sun in the 8th house around your identity and who you are as a person. You're going through something, you're transforming. Of course, the 8th house is connected to kind of death. So when you have the sun in the 8th, you can just be kind of more of aware of people. It's unlikely to be someone you know, by the way, but people dying. So it can be that, you know, you're waiting at the train station and your train's delayed because somebody's thrown themselves in sun, you know what I'm trying to say. So you're just, when you have sun in the 8th, you just think, God, why do these bad things keep happening around me? And it's because your sun is moving through the 8th house. So you're just hearing about these darker topics more than you usually would. So just kind of pay attention to the things that are showing up on your like newsfeed, things that are happening in your life, and you're thinking, oh, why does that keep happening? There can also be more of an interest in taboo topics. So you could be somebody that you're thinking, right, I'm going to go and see a medium, I'm going to go on a ghost hunt, I'm going to watch a horror movie. You've got more of an interest in the deeper topics of life, but you're feeling a bit more introverted, you're feeling a bit more, you can be feeling kind of down, because the 8th house can be kind of connected to depression. It's the house of psychology, so you can feel a bit down with the sun in the 8th house. Just something to watch out for. I mean, it is in the sign of Libra, but then the sun is in its detriment in Libra, so connections will maybe help you come out of this. So talking and collaborating with somebody, if you're feeling a bit down, can actually help you feel better. Okay, so make sure that you're connecting and not hiding yourself away. And then Mars is in your 9th house, squaring Pluto at the beginning of this transit. So Mars moving into the 9th. Let me just think, did I want to say anything else about that? No, okay. So Mars rules your 2nd house of income, and it's moving into the 9th. So focus on travel. So travel plans, adventure, seeing the bigger picture. Again, this is the house of legal matters. So there can be some frustrations around legal matters. Around money, around kind of your growth in some sense. So on the one hand, Mars in the 9th house is like, right, I want to learn this, I want to grow, and I'm going to see the bigger picture. It's in the sign of Scorpio, so you're actually willing to go deeper when it comes to your world view. But there can also be this frustration, this frustration around something. It can be a frustration around travel plans. It can be a frustration around something that you're learning. If you're doing a course or studying or something, there can be this sudden, like, I don't want to do this anymore, because Mars tends to sever. What do I also want to say about that? Yeah, frustration around legal matters, or just kind of putting your energy into your own growth, your own personal development, your own learning, focusing on what's important to you, what values you have. You could also be spending money on, for example, like having to get a new passport, travel plans, you're booking a holiday, you're spending money on you know, insurance or travel insurance. Things like that can definitely come up under this energy, where you're spending money, because Mars rules your 2nd house of income, on things to do with the 9th house. So yeah, like travel plans, different cultures, going abroad, money can be spent, and because this is where Mars, you're putting your energy in there. But also because Mars is the fixer-upper, there can be a change and a focus on your beliefs. So your beliefs might be changing, actually, and this is not necessarily a bad thing. There is going to be a bit of a power struggle at the beginning of this transit, so it could be something to do with your beliefs and somebody else's beliefs. So you believe in one thing, they believe in another thing, and there being a bit of a power struggle. So that's just something to watch out for. But the 9th house is how we see the bigger picture, and so there's focus for you on kind of expanding your horizons, Pisces, and kind of thinking outside the box a little bit. So that is the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you got some value from it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know in the comments how Libra season is showing up for you so far. Are you excited for this energy and what's happening with this Mars squaring Pluto and what's been going on? Can you feel it? Can you not? I would love to know. Don't forget to drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.